Unquestionably, an immensely powerful field of energy is being generated around here somewhere.
Well, you've probably seen some videos online about old power supply units or old PSUs and from old computers that you have. Well, they're all still good. They're still perfectly functioning, and you got a lot of different leads. You can go online and find out which ones give out which type, which amount of voltage very easily, and you can cut these and use them. But it's a wiring mess here, and these old ones, usually they're pretty heavy and pretty big here. And you know, if you want to make something out of it, you know, you have to work on it, do some work. And this one is 380 watts, which just for testing some stuff, or with 12 volts or 3 volts or 5 volts or whatever. And it's, you know, if I make some, it's heavy, you know, and you got to worry about the wires if you want to carry it around with you, you know, whatnot. So we'll set that aside. And I had an old computer from some years ago that I built that was a Mini with an in-win case that when I was still an Intel partner or something or whatever. Anyhow, it was a special promotion that they had. It was back then. It was like, wow, it's like real small motherboard and everything, and it's all in one small case. So it came with a small PSU, which is this one here, and it's quite small. And I forget, I guess the label's on the bottom. I forgot to look on it to see, or even if there is a label, but I think this is around 275 watts, so it's not very powerful or anything there. And it's nice and small, doesn't weigh a ton, and you can buy these front things on here online. You might get them on Amazon too, but on eBay, and I think they're under 10 bucks. And what you do is you just plug in the 24 pin to this, and you've got your 12 volts, 5 volts, and 3 volts, and they have a 12 volt negative here. I'm not quite sure where I would use 12 volts negative plus a ground, but there's 12 volts positive and ground, 5 volts positive with its ground, and 3.3 volts positive with its ground. So you just have to unscrew these, and you want to try out something or see if it's working, and you can just use this. And there's an on-off switch here. Might be hard to see, on-off switch here, and a little LED light that comes on. And when I made this is just made out of old pallet wood, so it's kind of crappy wood, not real smooth. I sanded it down, but it's still kind of rough. If I did more sanding, it would wind up like paper thin then. And I had an old piece of Dow or something. So I said, well, I'll make a little handy box. It's nice and light. And then when I made it, I was going to have, because these wires, because this was a mini case, are very short. They're very short wires. You don't have these big long lengths. So I was going to have this facing this way. But then I noticed that I'd have the fan blowing on me here, and the electrical outlet on this side, which I'd have another wire coming at me. I said, well, I don't want that. I want it on the other side. So I had to go around and modify this and cut a little slot in here so the wires would just reach up there where I could plug this in, the 24 pin. And I don't know if you can see, I got some standoffs, regular computer motherboard standoffs that I screwed into the wood and put a dab of super glue in there with them, and then screwed the 4 screws in here. And then I have the cord on this one. It's a little bit thinner cord because it's only 275 watts. But if I plug this in back here, and we're going to plug that in, then what happens here is I've got a little jobby here that I can, you know, loop this guy around here and carry my plug on top and still carry it there. So there it is. This is a nice small one. You can do this with the bigger ones too. You just have to make a bigger box and whatnot. And to hold this in, had a little piece of metal screw. There was one screw here so it doesn't slide out. And this one had a couple pins on either side, so I made an extra piece of thick wood here for it to sit on, so it's sitting nice and flat, and an old piece of wood on the bottom. So that's it. That's my PSU unit that I made. You can make yours. You can buy this anywhere. Like I said, eBay has lots of them for sale, maybe even Amazon too. So kind of a crude video, but that's my latest project there. So there it is. You can see it on the side. I just use brads here to shoot them in with my air gun and glue, of course. Tight Bond 3, which I always use here. So everything's glued in, plus with the brads. That should hold fine. A couple of brads in here too to hold the handle. So there it is.